state and federal courts have witnessed a flood of litigations. Since 2018, there's been approximately 170,000 plaintiffs that have filed claims against Monsanto and its successor, Bayer. Most of them are alleging a failure to warn. Okay, this is really important to remember because this ties to what's happening now in Congress. So a failure to warn, meaning they're alleging that the company knew or should have known of glyphosate's cancer risk, but they failed to update the label to warn the people. And that means the product was unreasonably dangerous. Bayer has settled nearly 100,000 of those cases for $11 billion. There's an estimated 54,000 lawsuits that are still pending in the state courts. In the federal court, there's 4,425 cases pending in the multi-district litigation in California as of July. Plaintiffs have won at least 18 jury verdicts, totaling over $8 billion. There was a $2.1 billion verdict in Georgia in March, a $2.25 billion verdict in Pennsylvania in January. They continue to defend tens of thousands of trials, and they're pursuing appeals. They're most recently petitioning the U.S. Supreme Court. That was in April of this year. I go through that detail to let you to set the stage for Bayer, who, as I said, is the successor of Monsanto. They're in a very bad spot, right? Losing billions of dollars, and the cases just keep piling on. So what has Bayer done? They've been actively lobbying states and the federal level. So they've lobbied state legislators to enact this laws that would shield the pesticide makers from future failure to warn claims, as long as their product labels comply with the current EPA requirements. They did successfully secure immunity status in North Dakota, and I'm very sad to say in Georgia, where I live. At the federal level, Bayer has been pushing for liability protection. They did this previously through the Agricultural Labeling Uniformity Act and through provisions in the House Farm Bill, and these were under President Biden. Those both failed, but Bayer is undeterred. They have successfully inserted what's called Section 453 into the 2026 House Appropriations Bill, right? This is at the federal level. This bill is the regular spending bill, and chemical companies are using this to sneak in this liability shield. So it would actually block the FDA from updating warning labels by freezing their spending. Okay, and it would also, in essence, preempt state failure to warn claims. It, in July, was cleared. It made it through the Appropriations Committee. It was a party line vote. Republicans voting in favor and Democrats opposing it. It now awaits a full House vote, presumably after the July recess. Now, Kelly Ryerson, who's the glyphosate girl, she's a friend of the program. And Joel, you know her very well. I love Kelly. She's keeping everybody updated on the glyphosate status. An email went out a couple days ago, and she said that the Senate is now currently considering whether or not they will include similar language in their appropriations bill. Okay, so she has if you want to stay up to date on this, if you want to contact your senators and contact your House people and your state legislatures, she has a website called stoppoison.org. You can simply sign up for that. And she said that she's divided people out by state, and she will notify you if something's coming up in your state and basically how to take action. So, but this is, I wanted to talk about this bill for a minute, because this tells you about labeling, right? How powerful a label is. So basically, this new section is going to say, well, there's no funding to change the label. So that means that it blocks the government from taking any action if it differs in any way from the agency's most recent health or cancer assessments. Okay. So Kelly's done a good job of breaking this down. She said, so unless there's a new assessment done, the assessment takes no less than 4 years. And sometimes it takes over 12 years to make an assessment, according to the EPA. So unless it does an assessment, the agency cannot update the safety warnings. They can't change food safety tolerances or guidelines, even if there's new science showing harm, and even if a company asks for updates, right? And even if the original assessment was fraudulent, right? So this section basically blocks them from being able to make any changes to the label, unless they do an assessment. So basically, this buys a bunch of time and stops them from really being able to do it. Now, the problem is the pesticide companies need approval from the FDA in order to update the label warning. And as I said, the EPA can only act after they perform a new health assessment, because they don't do their own scientific studies. So basically people are still going to get cancer, all these different health ailments. And the companies are going to say, well, you can't blame us because EPA hasn't told us to warn anything. We're not allowed to change this label. And the EPA will be like, well, we can't change the label. Congress passed this law. We can't do anything. It's going to take us 12 years to do this new assessment, they cut off our funding.
He done it. He done it.
Yes, he done it.
Mm.
And it's all based on a label. Like literally, this is the loophole that the chemical companies have found, that this is how immersed in regulation these labels are and how much power is attached to these labels. They're using this label as their get out of jail free card, and so what's going to happen with all these current cases? They're going to be like, well, if these laws pass, it's possible that they could be like, well, our hands are tied. How could we do anything at this point to make this better for anybody? Like the EPA, the government won't let us. And federal law overrides state law when it's impossible to comply with both. So people who are seriously injured by these pesticides company, now they're not going to be able to hold the companies accountable, right? I mean, and wait, I almost forgot something really important. It's not just glyphosate that's on the table here in these bills. It's all pesticides. It's all of them. So if you look at the I lost the website, but I can put it in the show notes. So there's a label, there's a website, an EPA website, and it's the EPA's active pesticide product registration information listing. So on there, they've listed that chemicals, pesticides that are actively approved, right? If you go in there and just say how many pesticides are actively approved by the EPA, there's 57,000. 57,000. So if this passes through, it's potential that updates for those 57,000 plus active products could be delayed, even if they have outdated and inadequate warning labels. Right. And again, families are going to lose their right to even hold those companies accountable.
Friends, want to dive deeper into our thought-provoking conversations? Become part of the Beyond Labels family today by joining below. For any gift amount, you'll get access to the full, uncut episodes.
Every contribution, whether big or small, keeps this podcast going.
So join us and expand your Beyond Labels experience. Thank you.